Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and guess what? This is Gidge World, and welcome to it. I have one guest this evening, and that's Bernie Streeter, former mayor, 2 terms, 30 years.
Concord.
Concord, executive counselor for 30 years. You're running.
3 years in Concord State Prison.
That's right. And you got a good parole, and we helped you out on that. But
actually, I was on the State Prison Board of Trustees for a dozen years.
You were?
Yeah.
And did you get out with good behavior?
The legislature abolished the Board of Trustees for the prison.
That's when the Republicans were running the place.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Like they're running it now?
Like they're running it now.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. All right, anyway, I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about.
This is a historic occasion.
Well, would you like, no, excuse me.
No. Okay, all right, Ken.
Thank you. This is a historic occasion, and we're fooling around a little bit before the show, and I think we may slow down and stop a little. This is a historic occasion, and why? Well, this is the first locally in-house produced show. There we go. And
you did well on that, Ken.
Huh?
You did well.
I did. Thank you very, very much. We had a whole hour.
We had
on this.
7 takes on that.
Oh, this will be a long hour, that's for sure. But who we have here who would like to get out of here, actually, his name is Richard Gagnon. He's the operational manager of Access Nashua, and he set this up for us, and he said after we got about 5 minutes, he felt sorry, he opened the door and let us in. But you've been 17 years at, I believe, up in Goffstown, running...
Right. Taking care of their PEG access station in Goffstown.
Okay.
And when the city put out a request for proposal looking for an organization to manage the new public access channel here in Nashua, my business partner and I, Andrew White, put in a proposal, and after going through all the process and everything, we were chosen to operate and manage Access Nashua, Nashua's first public access channel, which is on 96, since that's what channel you're watching it on now. And so we started July 1st.
So July 1st, and we are basically the first produced in-house.
You're the first studio show. We've done some taping of a band that's going to be aired later on somebody's music show. And we've been doing some rehearsals with some break dancers who are going to be doing doing break dance videos. But this show is the first talk show that's that we're taping here, and we'll be airing. This will be the first locally produced talk show, studio show.
Did you know what you were getting into when you when you chose?
I hadn't talked to enough people beforehand, but
And
you should have talked to several people. That's all right. I'm sorry, Ken.
when you were mayor, I let you do this and get away with it, just fooling. But we thought we would have a little bit of sort of champagne here, and the first thing that the former mayor said is that alcoholic. I don't think you can have it.
I think that's apple juice.
Yes,
right?
this is apple juice. Okay, so. I think probably, Richard, because you put so much work into it, I think you probably should give the toast.
oh, sure. Like I tell you to prepare for a show, and then you throw this at me. I'm unprepared. But no, to a long life of public access here in the city of Nashua. May we all grow together.
And may Ken be your favorite host.
Well, he'll be one of many favorite hosts.
May Ken be your favorite host. All right, thank you. Yeah.
This is good stuff. I like sparkling.
I've
stuff.
always
The
liked
good
cider.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, we can drink that. All right, okay.
One of the things I'd like to
Yes.
to mention before I scoot back into the control room and actually do the show properly is that here at Access Nashua, our doors are open for people to come in and produce a show of their interest. you know, you've chosen to do a talk show where you're going to bring on guests and everything and interview out in the field as well. I understand you'll be interviewing people.
Governor, hopefully. soon.
Governor,
Yep.
sure. Other people are going to be coming in and doing some health shows, talking about healthy living and how we can all improve our life through basic common sense things. We'll be setting up to do cooking shows. We'll have a stove here along with a counter for them to work
Wow.
on.
Wow.
There's one gentleman that's working on a running show. And
Running?
Yeah.
You could be on the car with a camera following him?
No,
He'll run right in.
he'll have a camera on his helmet.
And he's gonna
helmet
run?
Cam. Yeah,
And do a show running?
yeah. That's part of the show.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll
It
get
sounds like
to
something
see.
you might do.
That's right.
Running away from the camera.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you better be good because as soon as he leaves, it's my turn.
With you, right.
So also, Representative Sconsis was here.
Yes, Lisa
will be doing
Sconsis will
a-
be doing a show. She'll be, in about 2-3 weeks, she'll be starting a show, talking about things going on in Concord and bringing on some guests to talk about certain bills. and
Probably
everything.
politics, et cetera. So exactly
Correct.
what we do. And I want to apologize to her because when I came in here, I was late and I didn't recognize her immediately. And she came up to me and said, "Hi, Representative Gidge," because I am also a state representative. And so I'm really sorry. I do apologize for that. She's a very, very bright person. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
All right, quick question. Behind us, you have a green wall, but this is gray. Is this
Right.
going to show up as gray?
This will be great. What he's talking about is that we've painted the walls a certain green color that hopefully not too many people wear. And future shows will have their own individual backgrounds. So you could have a background of bookcases, or you could have a background of a nice picture window with the city behind you, or the State House,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to do that with the capabilities we have here at Access Nashua in the control room. But where this is the first show and we're just getting set up, figured let's be safe and go with the gray, and then when you come up with what you want for a background, we'll be able to set it up. And
I'm an artist,
Right.
so we'll probably show a little bit of my artwork.
yeah, and that would be the background, and we can go from there.
I would like to say one thing. It may be helpful to people out there who may want to do a show, and that is, some people would like to talk for probably about 10 minutes, almost like a editorial.
Right.
And what I was thinking was, possibly we could do that. I mean, I want to talk to you first about it, and I am right now. If somebody would like to come in and to talk, just get something off their chest, I'll be very happy to sort of like be the co-host for 15 minutes. And that's probably all a lot of people. But to set a whole show up, and that sort of may scare people. It won't be about me. It's going to be about you. All I'm going to do is sit here, introduce you, and make it really easy. Forget that the camera and the lights are here, and Bernie Streeter.
And that's a good idea
That's good.
if that's what you're looking to do.
What
Well,
kind
to
of,
help-
what
help
kind of
other people
restrictions do you have, Richard? Are there any restrictions by stat or by ordinance? Are there any restrictions that?
I mean, we deal with the FCC rules as far as restrictions and stuff, but as far as topics, no. You also have to go by community standards.
Right.
It's not really appropriate to be on here swearing and, or even saying libelous statements.
Correct. Yeah, right.
You got to remember that you're being recorded, so if you were to say something libelous, they have it down on tape, so you can't take it back.
Well, I was a graduate of the Alicia School of Broadcasting. They only had one term, one student, me.
Right.
It was the worst mistake I ever made. But one thing
Well,
that...
Oh, now I'm getting scared.
You were on the radio at odd hours, like midnight.
No, I was on the radio anytime I wanted to
Oh,
be
I
on,
see,
as long as it
okay.
was after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right. It was after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
but,
we had some... But what Ed
I was
did...
telling Richard about when I used to send in a dozen pizzas.
No, when I used to
And
send
then,
one to your house.
and then you turned around and sent them to my house,
That's,
too.
yeah, so the mayor then was supposed to be on the show, and he probably went to sleep and forgot about me. So we called up a pizza place. We didn't tell him where he's really going to go deliver the pizza, but so there's a knock on the door. We could hear, "Hey, what is that? What's that? Pizza. I didn't order a pizza." He said, "Night orange?" He said, "Oh, no," I could hear. And then finally, the mayor did call in. But so if you
Night
say,
Orange was the name of his program.
yes, yes.
And he had listeners because of the internet from all over the
We
world.
had,
Yeah.
we set it up, it was so different. We talked to people who had people around the world, and then we'd call them and we'd say, follow us on the internet, and all of a sudden, we had people calling from Australia. And a little, 5,000 watt radio station. It was very, very, very unusual.
Well, to go along with that, Access Nashua is going to be streaming out live. The channel 96, will be streamed out live, both on the city website and on our website, which is accessnashua.org. But we'll also be putting on video on demand the locally produced shows, so that your show, if somebody wants to see it later, can just go and click on it on the video on demand and watch it on the internet.
You're kidding me.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah.
Wow, and they will be archived?
Yeah, for a period of time. We'll see, depending on space and everything.
Okay,
In other words, if you wanted to watch, at midnight,
Right.
you had insomnia and you wanted to watch Ken Gidge to put you to sleep, then you'd go into Access.
Yeah, into the video on demand
and then
section.
you'd-
Pop up his show, and within a minute or two, you'll be asleep like a baby.
That's right.
Hey, this is pretty good. We can,
You're
Yeah,
right.
we're good
You're
together.
right. Yeah, you're right.
It always happens. I do radio, and they call the show, the station the next day, and say, if he can do it, anybody can do it. I get here for 5 minutes, and this guy wants to run away. All of a sudden, he's taking over the show. I'm not sure if that's good, but restrictions. We can have sponsors. Is this correct?
correct. You can have sponsors to help cover any of your costs and everything.
Okay.
So, what we allow is at the beginning of the show, usually in the middle, and at the end, we can have a slide up that says, this show is sponsored or underwritten by so-and-so.
And that would just be the name and basically what the business is.
And the website,
Okay, and the
so
website.
they can go.
And so but no voice or anything. That's
No commercial.
no commercials, right?
On all the shows, we're not allowed to do any commercially produced things. What's called a call to action. We're not allowed to say, come on down to my store, we have these on sale for $9.95, But you can talk, somebody could do a show, the Chamber of Commerce could do a show about businesses in town and highlight different business each week and talk about, what they do and where their experience is. And
Well, this program is brought to you by Ken Gidge Winery then.
right,
That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. Or
Yeah.
Bernie Streeter's chicken sandwiches.
right.
So and as far as language and stuff like that goes, as I was talking and mentioned, I really learned by Ed Leicius and his father.
The father, yeah.
Mostly Ed, and he doesn't like me. I mean, this is true. He says this publicly. But one thing that he did do, and he made it very clear, he said, guess what? The way the laws are right now, you do not have to get an individual on. Let's say I'm a Democrat. I don't have to bring a Republican on. I mean, I could trash Republicans. But what Ed would say, no, that's not how we're going to do it here. What we're going to do is we're going to make this even. So
Well, it's a little different.
we don't have to do that here.
Exactly.
Commercial radio station is, a
No,
little
you,
different.
no, you don't have to do it there. The FCC, those laws have been changed.
have they?
Yes. You think Rush Limbaugh has...
There's still equal time, isn't there?
no.
Is that out the window?
Well, yes, absolutely. But I would like to try to keep it as such, as equal time as much as possible. I will get mad and upset and go on rants, but...
And along those lines, Access Nashua offers equal access.
Right.
Good.
We're here. We
Yeah,
don't care if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, or if you know, whatever.
Even a mugwump.
That's right.
Well, I'm not sure on that one. I'd have
well,
to
okay,
Check
well,
our policies and
You
procedures.
better check those.
Yeah.
You're feeling awfully brave tonight. You know what I can do.
I can handle my own. Kenneth.
Oh, yeah, that's factual. That's the reason why Mr. Streeter is here tonight. We've done like 100 interviews together, and I feel very, very comfortable that if I make errors, which he will point out,
Right.
and he's a very interesting man. You know about our former mayor here?
I've heard the name many, many, many times over the years.
Did you know that he grew up with chickens,
No.
eggs?
Yeah.
We're going to get into that. We got a lot of trouble with that. Oh, well, anyway, I'm not going to tell you the entire story right now, but we set something up, and we called the mayor, and we asked the mayor then to come down. And, well, the only thing I can tell you is he ended up on David Letterman's show, standing in front of 13 chickens laying down, and you were the judge?
I was the judge. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes on Letterman. The only thing I see
and
is
you
him as
set
a
it
fact
up.
about-
You
yeah.
set it up. Yeah.
But so we know each other. Now, can you anything else that people may know?
Look,
I know.
first of all,
You.
how do you apply? I mean, how do you?
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
You contact us, either give us a call at 589-3141, or you can email us at accessnashua@gmail.com, or you can pop in here at 9 Riverside Street. We're in the back of Department of Public Works. We're alongside the police impound lot. So you could stop down.
I think I saw Ken's car in the impound lot.
Yeah,
Do you see
the
the
one
one
all
where?
wrecked up?
Yeah, you see
The
the
one
one
all
with the
wrecked
motor
up.
missing and everything.
Oh yeah. He can't remember the date. Oh, he will. Just because they can see us now, I'm going to do it to you.
Okay,
You're
all
in
right,
deep
all right,
trouble
all
now.
But yeah, contact us and come on down. You can also go to our website, accessnashua.org. There'll be information there that will tell you basically what I will talk to show, like when Ken and I met for about 45 minutes talking over the process of producing a show. And what I like to tell people is think about what you enjoy doing and come on in and do a show about it. You know, if it's about stamp collecting, come on in, talk about stamp collecting, bring on some guests, other people that know stamp collecting, and you talk. Because when you're doing a show like this, it's basically just sitting down and talking.
How about pole dancing?
That's a possibility.
How about pole sitting?
Pole
I think we're talking two different,
No, I understand it, but I saw that on television. The guys are now doing the pole dances. Someone really could do that here.
Oh, they could. They'd have to come up with their own pole, though. Because
yes.
we wouldn't provide that, but
But you can. I think this is really great. This is really great that this is taking place, and there's a lot of people who fought for it. I just want to tell one quick story.
It's been a long process, though.
long process.
Yeah, much too long. Yeah.
Much too long. We knew about this probably 5 years ago that Nashua was going to sign a contract with Comcast. And what happened was that Nashua was not asking for another station. And I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but I brought some people down from Manchester, I believe in Concord. Fred T. Boone came, Barbara Presley, and our argument quite simply was, what you want to sign a contract with Comcast tonight, but if you sign it tonight, we're not going to get a station like we have got right here. And it got pretty bloody. I mean, it got to the point where literally there was so much tension and hostility in the room that they turned the camera to the wall. Okay, your picture, I think.
Well, they couldn't have a nicer picture, though.
That's
You know, look at it.
exactly, and they turned the sound.
I didn't
down.
have a long beard and a stovepipe hat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Abraham
Yeah.
Streeter. But what happened was that I think it was Steve Bolton who said, "Oh, wait a minute," and he called over to the individual who's the head of the committee on television at that time, and he said nobody went to the meetings, and I said no, I went to the meetings. So they stopped it, and we went out. They went out. They came back and I said, okay, 1 week we're going to come back with it. And then I believe it was Mr. Rudovich who went out and basically sort of set it up. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. So it was, I would say myself, Fred T. Boone, and Barbara Presley.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of other people, don't misunderstand me, because once it started, everybody said, "Hey, how come we're not going to have this?" So to be here on the first night,
Correct.
right, and with the mayor at that particular time, and yourself as being so knowledgeable, this is great. This is
Yeah,
just
we're
wonderful.
really looking forward to this, and it's exciting, and we've already met a lot of people that have come in, you know, about 12, 15 people coming in, talking about shows they'd like to do. And what I enjoy the most about my job is I don't know what show is going to walk through that door. You know, somebody comes in and they're going to do you know, the political talk show, or they're going to come in and do breakdancing videos or cooking shows, or so it's exciting all the time for me.
It's yes, and some of these around the country really get crazy, and that's one of the reasons why. You know, Nashua's been first for a lot of things, but it's just that this is the first time Nashua has been last to get this stations out, and that's really sad. But
Well, one thing though, Ken,
it's
is
here.
that you know, this is not funded by taxpayer money.
Please make that clear.
It's funded by the fees that Comcast pays the city to have a monopoly, in essence, in the city, and that part of those fees are being used to fund Access Nashua.
Now,
That's good.
This first year, because we have a one-year contract,
Okay, I didn't realize you had just a one-year contract.
and it's with, I'm not exactly sure where the money came from, but it was reserved money,
Right.
I believe, from the Comcast money.
Yeah.
But for the following years, you know, it's going to have to be funded through the city and everything. But the city does get a good chunk of money from
million.
Com.
And your
They
time
do.
was it?
1 point,
Well, when I was mayor, it was at least $500,000 for
oh,
what
it's
we
like
call
1.2 million.
the
or
franchise
more.
fees.
million,
And
so-
as the system grew, as
Sure.
more subscribers came
Sure.
in, it was more. But
Right.
yeah, that was one of the questions that some members of the Board of Aldermen had, that why fund this when that money could go to the general fund to reduce, you know, the tax rate and so forth. But-
And one reason why is you do not want a Ken Gidge doing a show if he's really mad at you because you wouldn't fund a show like this. And I mentioned only one person who sort of helped us. I'm not going to mention the people who
Yeah.
didn't. So I wouldn't do that. But we're here. And it was from you being mayor and myself fighting and the other two, Fred and Barbara. And well, we're really, really happy to be here. And we're glad you're here. And as I said, you may have people come through the door who are just not, don't want to do an entire show, but really want to get something off their chest. I'll be very happy to set up these little things, come in. It's not about me. It'll be about them. I'll make sure that they're not worried about the lights and the cameras, and maybe 15 minutes, a couple of 15
Right.
minutes, half hour. So it might be.
That could be
I
a
will do
good
that.
segment on your show, where you end with that segment, and then at the end of that,
Right.
you just kind of recap from the whole show,
Okay. All right. So,
Nashua Speaks.
yes,
How's that?
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah,
Would you like to host it?
that's all right.
Yeah,
This is your forte, Ken.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We'll find out.
Yes. Yes. I have a face for radio. And they got me in front of a TV camera. Yes.
Yeah.
We've already gone through that. Well, listen. I want to thank you very, very much.
Yes. Thank
honestly,
you too, Ken.
Good to meet you, Richard.
Same
And,
here.
Are you still associated with Goffstown?
Oh, yes.
It's a good town.
I love it.
Goffstown's a
It's
good
my
town.
home, and I like it a lot.
Yep. We hope you'll like Nashua as equally.
I'm sure I will. So far, everybody I've met has just been, like I said, really nice to work with and talk to, and
everybody.
everybody.
That's.
There are a few.
Oh, there's a few.
There will be.
We even have a few in Goffstown.
There may be, yeah.
We have a few in Goffstown,
No,
but I'll deal with them.
that's good.
It's not a problem. This is what we're here for. So
And I was going to be so prepared. This is my iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And it's got a clock on it, right? But it's been 7:45 for a half hour. So
Yeah, it's like 8:15.
yeah, I'm gonna
Where's
have
where's
to,
Sky when you need
yeah.
him?
And what happened is this 5 minutes. I don't do good before a camera.
I said I didn't like being in front of the camera.
No, just really. And,
Right.
please, and I have said this, and I'll say it live here, and that is, if you see anything that I do or say, please feel free. I know a lot of people get very upset if somebody comes in and sort of critiques how they are on air, or I'm sure here on television. But no, please do that, and I'm sure a lot of listening people out there will certainly do that.
Right.
If you don't,
I was going to say,
There are a few out there that will probably comment on your expertise before the camera.
yeah.
yes, I'm sure they will. So I guess we're going
Okay.
to take a break now.
Sounds
okay?
good.
So you don't have to run away to take a break, or
No, but I have to go back to the control room.
okay,
and
to shut it
start.
off. Okay, so we'll talk for a couple minutes until you get there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Good. Okay, thank you. We really appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll give him a minute to get back there. That's a good man.
It sounds like a great addition to the city.
Yes, he knows what he's doing, and that's really wonderful that Nashua has that. And it's taken a
It's
while.
interesting to see some of the other people associated with Access Nashua that I saw in City Hall that were working for TV 13 and working
That's
for,
right.
for
That's right.
channel, what was it, channel 15 was it, the Nashua City channel?
Yep.
So that's good. I mean, that.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in a moment. We're back. I'm here. I'm Ken Gidge. This is Gidge World, and welcome to it. This is, as we've been talking about, the first locally produced show of its type inside the city, and that's why we have our little celebration here.
Just let the record show it's apple juice, not fruit of the vine.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep telling them that. But, you can tell them anything you want.
Well,
We know better, but because they can see that.
it just
You
says
got a close-up
sparkling
of it.
cider.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sure you want to get back into
Oh,
politics?
I don't know.
All right, well, I'm here with Bernie Streeter.
Right.
Bernie Streeter was a two-term mayor, also 30 years as an executive counselor. I never actually knew what that was, but I'm on my second term. Really, I'm on my second term as a state representative, and I know it very well. Now I know what it is, and it's quite a job and quite a position. Retired, a good friend of yours, Mr. Flynn, passed away, I believe.
Yes, Alderman Dick Flynn from Ward 7, who I had the opportunity to serve with.
Yeah.
He was the clerk of the Finance Committee. He was also very active in the Budget Committee, and died, unfortunately, at a very young age. And it was this summer, and so his term expires at the end of this year. And so the election will be held in November to not only for the next 2 years, but to fill out the November and December on his current term. So the winner in Ward 7 will have 2 years and 2 months to serve, as opposed to the other ward alderman will have 2 years from January.
Oh, sure. Okay.
On. So yeah, I decided that since I've got some time on my hands, and I'm semi-retired, and I love city government. I had the opportunity to serve in the state for many years, but my 8 years as mayor, I grew to enjoy helping people, and so decided that I've lived in Ward 7 for all of the time that I lived in Nashua, and I know the people in Ward 7. I know the problems, and hope I can be of help to the residents of Ward 7 and ultimately the city of Nashua.
Well, I'm sure you will. I mean, you're like our elder statesman. Would that be
Well, you've called me elder things in other respects,
yeah,
but I like the term statesman.
statesman?
Right.
Okay. And he's also a Republican. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been waiting for this, and I'm a Democrat. Are you? Would you consider yourself an ultra-conservative?
I consider myself a conservative Republican. Yeah.
All right.
In fiscal matters. Yeah.
And what would you consider me?
An ultra liberal.
Ultra-liberal Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's all right, Ken.
yeah.
You've always marched to a different
That
drummer.
that is correct, former mayor, because there's a little bill coming up. You didn't know I was going to say this.
No, is
a
it?
little bill coming up. It's called a bullying bill. And of course, everybody does not want their children being bullied. I mean, we hear about it. Kids are pushed around. The money is taken from them. Clothes. I mean, it's awful to have children bullying one another. But this bill is from a Republican representative against Republican representatives at the State House. In other words, Republicans are bullying Republicans, so a Republican got, right?
Wow.
And file this bill. Now, Mr. Former Mayor,
let's just say that.
hold on, wait, I'm not done yet. Let me rant a little on this. How can we elect people, put people up there who we have to pass a law so they don't bully one another? And I've seen it. I've been there.
But Ken, this is citizen government. You know why we have such a large legislature? Do you know the real reason why our legislature is the third largest legislative body in the English-speaking world, topped only by Congress and Parliament? You know why it's so? It's because of the railroads.
Because of the railroad.
The old B&N Railroad was so powerful back when the legislature was smaller that they would buy all of the legislators, and they would treat them to all kinds of niceties. And so the framers of our then Constitution back in the mid-1800s said, we're going to make our legislature so large that the railroad won't be able to buy them all. And it worked. So you do have...
Yeah, I know. We don't have railroad.
You do-
And by the way, it was the Republicans...
But you don't have...
The camera's on me right
yeah,
now.
I know.
It was the Republicans who said, we do not need railroad. And how much money are we giving back? $2 million?
Oh, gosh. Well, let's don't
$4
get into that
million?
subject. I mean, those of us from Nashua can see the value of the reinstitution of commuter rail.
Really?
And,
Well, we have I think I'm one of 3, I believe,
Are you saying that there are
out of
Nashua
20
Republicans
plus
that are opposed to
Republicans?
bringing back
well,
commuter
you
rail?
know, they've been bullied, possibly.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
okay.
this is not a nice thing to talk about, but I went up there thinking I'm going to get out of politics by being elected. What a mistake that was.
Well,
I got up there and I've got to fight not only with Republicans, I have to fight, with my own people, and now we have to fight with Republicans who are fighting with one another. It's
And now
really,
you have
it's not nice.
And now you have another party, Republicans, Democrats, and a Tea Party.
Oh, and the Tea Party is
Yeah.
the Free Staters.
Right.
The Free Staters. By the way, it was the Free Staters who put a bill in to get rid of rail, the money, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, all right.
And they wanted to come up to the state of New Hampshire, and they did. They moved up here on purpose
Right.
to take over a state and run it the way they want it. And part of what they don't want is they don't want anything of government, nothing. And the problem is that a state like New Hampshire, as you said, railroad made it, and also made our legislature the way it is. We need the railroad back.
Responsible legislators, too. Not just those people who put their name on a ballot in hopes that they will get elected or hopes they won't get elected. In a case like the last election, you had people who signed up just to fill out the slate, and lo and behold, a lot of them got elected. And the same thing has happened on your side of the fence. And in Democratic years, your party would say, let's make sure we got everybody running for every position.
Sure.
And people would put their name up there, and then if they got elected, they say, well, what do I do now?
Well, I'll tell you what the people out there can do. You can go to the state website and you can look up who your legislator is.
That's important. You're
Yeah,
right.
right. And this is Hillsborough County. We're in Hillsborough County. This is Nashua. And I believe there are 23 of us state legislators, and call them up and ask them several questions. One would be obviously railroad. What do you feel about the railroad? How did you vote, first of all, in Hillsborough County meetings? Because I know how people voted, because I was on the executive board. Can you imagine that?
Oh, so you're on the county executive committee?
Yes, I am.
Good for you, Ken.
Yes, I am. So I got
One of few Democrats in that committee.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, they had to give somebody. And they took a look at my ability and all my talents. I said, don't worry about him, he's fine. But little did they know.
Little did they know. Yeah.
Little did they know. While we're not talking about Hillsborough, let me just mention one more thing that's really not kind of nice about Republicans. And then let's just move on from that, because I think what you said is correct. I think people got out there and people voted for people they didn't know. Most of the people who got in didn't run against how bad New Hampshire was. It was how bad the United States government was.
Oh,
and so when they got in, some of these people started filing federal laws. And all of a sudden, the party elders said, whoa, hold on a second, well, you can't do that. And they said, well, why can't we do it? And it's been an argument since. But one thing I do want to mention, because I think this is really important, of course, everybody's got to save money. We understand that. And no matter what goes on, what's said, the first thing that the Republicans say is, everybody's got to give up something. Everybody's got to give up something. Well, this is what we had to give up to save $141,000. Here in this Hillsborough County, we have 5.5 social workers. 5.5 social workers. They fired how many? 5.5 social workers. Shame on them. I put a bill in trying to get it back at the committee meetings. Let's put it this way, they didn't yell at me, but you could hear them across the street. No, we don't want to put it in. With a surplus of $14 million, you could pay for the social workers basically by the interest. So the savings, they share that they've saved that amount of money. But guess what? During these times, we need someone out there. How many times have we heard in other parts?
Now, would these social workers be associated with the, with the county? The county farm. I mean, it's now the county, the jail, and the.
I'll give you one example, which is probably the saddest I've ever heard. Family of 8. Husband contracts cancer and dies. 2 days after Mother's Day, the eldest daughter, who's 17, is killed in an automobile accident. And here you have a mother with 5 children. Yeah. Does she need help? Well, they did run in. They did help. But since they fired her, I don't know how they traded this off to make sure and this family gets help. This is what social workers are needed. And to save $441,000, you're not saving it. You're probably saving lives by keeping the social workers. And the social workers, by the way, showed us that they save approximately $1.5 million. Why? They keep people out of jails, which is like $40,000 a year. They keep people who desperately need services, mental health services. So we're not, you can look at the facts, the money-wise. $441,000, 1.5. Well, guess what? You can raise your hands and say, hallelujah, we saved $441,000, but guess what? You lose basically $1 million. And that's what we're having to fight with up there in Concord. And that's the reason why they put the bullying bill in.
On the other side of the coin, these newly elected legislators will say, that's why the people in either my ward or my district elected me, to make the hard and fast decisions, to cut unnecessary state spending. And ultimately, when you cut spending, hopefully you lower taxes.
Well, let's make it clear that the people in my ward wanted the same thing. They wanted somebody who would go up there and cut as much as we can, but to take complete services away from people. I don't think that's what the people of Ward 6 wants. It's a little bit more compassion, especially when the money is there. But to see this, and to bring it up just one more time, to have a Republican put a bill in for bullying, Republicans bullying other Republicans, it's a joke. And I don't think that will see the light of day. I think they're going to pull that right away.
I don't think it will either. And let's face it, how many bills are filed every term? I mean, what, 1,500? And
I think it's 800 now.
But a lot of them are title only. But some of the most should New Hampshire succeed from the union?
Ah.
I mean, you know, that'll never happen, but there's always someone that says that, you know, New Hampshire should
Correct.
do this. And, you know, should,
And,
you know,
and
should,
a bill as foolish as that is,
Yeah.
New Hampshire doesn't need rail.
yeah.
I mean, we're here, that's something we can agree on. And in fact, I think that's something that everybody can agree on. But someone will come along and do that. It's a mob mentality. You asked me why I didn't say hello to Representative Consis. And I said, you know my arm and
Yes,
her,
I
and
do
I
know.
was late. And I said, gee, I'm really sorry about that.
And
And
you-
you asked, do you socialize?
Yeah.
And I said, no, not at all.
Boy, I remember we used to host the national delegation meetings at City Hall.
Ah,
And
didn't
we
know
would
that.
we would provide you know, coffee and donuts, and at least once a month, the Nashua delegation, Republicans and Democrats,
and
got
that's,
to get together and talked publicly, and then if they wanted to go into executive session, fine, we would leave. But it gave the mayor's staff, it gave the division heads an opportunity to talk one-on-one with the legislators, who the decisions that the legislature makes affects the city so greatly, whether it's education funding or police protection
Yeah.
through the state police or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And
exactly.
and so it's so important.
It's the best money to
And
spend.
it's
What does it cost?
unfortunate that-
$200
yeah.
every month to get everyone together?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm very sorry I didn't say hello to
Maybe
her.
you should talk to the mayor and say that why don't you reinstitute delegation meetings? I offered to make the a meeting room available at Nashua Community College.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the offer wasn't taken. This was with the new, with the Republican-controlled delegation here in Nashua, and I didn't get a response.
And you didn't get a response?
Didn't get a response. Huh?
Well, I'll tell you one reason. One thing that they did every year for the delegation is they had one night where you get there early and they would have hamburgers, hot dogs, soft drinks to socialize.
Right.
Instead of yelling and screaming no, the person who's sitting and they don't all sit together. It used to be that people used to, not anymore. It's like a wedding. One on one side and one on the other side, a bad wedding.
Yeah.
Hopefully a divorce is coming very
Right.
soon.
Yeah. Well, Ken, you and I both know. Politics is like a pendulum of a clock. It swings one way this year, and it could very well swing the other way the next year.
Let's hope it doesn't go that far. Because if the Democrats go as far as the Republicans have gone, this country's gone.
But I can remember when Nashua was a heavy Democratic city. The Nashua delegation was, 80% were Democrats. But I also know at that time that they sat down and talked with their counterparts from the Republican Party. And I feel bad it's not happening now.
Yeah, I had to tell you a simple story because I'm really upset about the social workers losing their jobs. This is my second term. So my first term, the Republicans did this also. They wanted to get rid of the social workers. And because the Democrats were the majority, the social workers didn't go. So I went up to a Republican who I knew had been as a Republican for a long time. I said, explain it to me. We need social workers. He says, of course we know that, but we're just going back and forth. I said, well, how about if we weren't going to have the votes? You know what he said? He said, I'd vote for it, not to let them go. I'd vote to keep the social workers. And it's like somewhere along the line, someone didn't say, guess what? These 5.5 people are really important, and they're not much money. So, but again, I mean, just to go on, it's got to change. You know that.
And things will change. I don't know what will happen in the next year's national election, but certainly from a New Hampshire perspective, as I say, the pendulum will swing. Whether it will swing as far as it did for the Republicans next time, I don't think it will.
It can't. I don't think the voters would put up with that. But
there's been some craziness that has gone on.
It's totally
Concord.
nuts.
And
It's not,
it's
you know,
fortunate. And one thing,
Yeah, but-
you don't get that at the local level. You don't get that with the Board of Aldermen. Now, there are, occasionally there's maybe one or two aldermen that will, you may consider that they're not with it, 80% of the time. But I know that the board, I don't think there's the animosity. Certainly I haven't heard of name calling and slanderous actions going on. And I think that's the way the government should be. But of course, Nashua rather is nonpartisan, and hopefully will remain nonpartisan. But I'll tell you this: that when I ran for mayor, that it wasn't particularly nonpartisan because you had the Democrats supporting the Democrats, and then the Republicans supporting me.
I know.
But and that's one reason why I'm interested in getting back into local politics, because it's not as
how you brought
crazy.
that right back to where it comes.
Crazy
you see, I told you I'd get you. I was waiting for you to slide it. But that's fact. Yeah. And one of the reasons why I have you here is that we've done a lot of interviews together. And we know
we've had some fun time together too.
Oh, yes. First show, there are going to be mistakes. We're going to look kind of wrong. The cameras, the lights. I mean, everybody's doing a good job. But you got to do a couple of weeks. Right. And I wanted you to be here.
Right. On the other hand, Ken, there are people out there who probably don't agree with what we've said.
Absolutely.
And they can call Access Nashua and have their own program.
Hey, I'll tell you what I'll do. If anyone doesn't like what we are saying, what you can do is you can call me, and I'm going to give you several ways you can get in touch with me.
Give them your telephone number.
I will. I'm going to give you telephone number, which is 864-9332, 864-9332. That's my cell. I have a website called Gidge World, but that's an art website. I'm also on Facebook, so let's be friends. And you can get me also at kgidge@aol.com. So there's a bunch of ways. If you would like 5 minutes to come in next week and sit down and yell and scream at me, that's fine. Yes, we'll take it. In fact, just to probably get people a little more excited who don't like what I am talking about, the next show will have two unions, which will be the schools and the fire unions.
Well, that's two very important unions.
That's right.
My favorite story about unions is
what's happening up in what's happening up in Concord?
It's all about unions.
They're trying to get rid of the unions. They're trying to bust the unions, and the governor came along and vetoed it. And next week we have a vote to try to override the veto.
Well, there's a lot of he vetoed a lot of legislation, probably more than any governor has in the last maybe 20 years, and it's his way of saying that just because the legislature enacts, a bill, doesn't necessarily mean it should go through. And the governor does have the right to veto, and then it's up to him to convince 2/3 of either the House or Senate to sustain the veto.
But in other states, people complain about the unions, but not about 2 months ago we were at 4.8. Unemployed. Now, if you're unemployed, that number means nothing, but nationally, that's incredible. The Republicans get fired because of all the sort of costs to save money. 1,300 people have been fired or laid off.
Laid off.
All right, especially with.
But it was a result of the legislative action passing the budget. The governor had to take action because he was directed to eliminate X number of $1 million from the budget.
Wait a minute. You're like, we like the governor and everything, but I don't want people out there to think that the governor did this. It was the Republicans who did this.
Well, you're right.
You had to vote on
it's a Republican budget that was passed, which resulted in layoffs, furloughs, and a reduction in state services. And it's as simple as that. And the governor's responsibility is to, if legislation that comes through is not, in his mind, and for the best interest of the people of the state of New Hampshire, then he vetoes it. And it's up to the legislature to
We're going in next
either
week.
sustain
You
it
know,
or whatever.
we have sat down here and we've talked over an hour, so maybe we should say goodbye.
Maybe we should say goodbye, and I hope that people will continue to watch your program, Ken, and take you up on your offer to bring them in.
Well,
Anybody
has
has a diverse opinion to come in and express it on,
No, I wanna,
Gidge Speaks.
Publicly, I want to ask you, if I'm not here for some reason, I would like you to come in and host for me.
I'd be happy to.
Okay, so as
Be
a
happy to.
Democrat to a Republican, I wanted you because we have had a lot of fun. We certainly didn't.
We could talk about hypnotizing chickens, we could talk about pole sitting, we could talk about a lot of things, but what we're talking about today really is how does government work? And government works well when people work together.
And I think that you'd fit very well over there. And I would like to see, I'm not in that ward, but I know how to go over there and vote for you several times. So I do hope, and also anyone who may be running also in that ward is welcome to come on. They're going to have equal time.
Right.
Anyone from any ward running in the city elections, equal, come on in. Just give me a call. I'm going to give you the phone numbers and email addresses again. I know Ben Clemens is coming in, and a few other people have said they may or may not. So anyone running for a city office, please give me a call. I'm going to give you some time and a little extra time, especially with trying to spend money to run. I mean, this is very, very expensive.
Oh, boy, it is. Yeah.
It is. Okay, so...
it's been a pleasure, Ken. Thank you for
thank you.
having me as your first guest, and
Yeah.
I'll make myself available whenever duty calls.
Well, I do appreciate it. And my name is Ken Gidge, and it's kgidge@aol.com. Gidge World, which is a website, my art website. You can also get me on Facebook. And a telephone number, cell number, would be 864-9332. I want to thank Dick, Mr. Gagnon, for coming in here. We do appreciate that.
If anyone wants to communicate with me, it's very simple, Bernie Streeter at AOL.com. I'm in the phone book, 889-1564, and my cell is 566-1785. So,
good.
And my formula for government has been to keep government as open as possible.
Well, you got to remember that open as possible. It was in your administration when it passed. So guess what?
Thank you.
You may not want to take the credit for it, and probably can't, but all of it. But anyway, that's sort of our show tonight, and let's make it really clear. This is the first show, in-house produced, in-studio show. There may be some errors, and I'm sure it's not on Access, Nashua Access. It's probably on ours. So please forgive us, and we hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back next week, as I said, with 2 unions, fire and teachers. Again, if you would like to come in, I'll give you, call it the 5-minute chair. You can sit down for 5 minutes before the show or during the show, and if you disagree, fine. I agree. You may also have the 5 minutes. But I want to thank you very much. I want to thank Dick for producing this show and doing the camera work. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you accept us. This is Ken Gidge. This has been Gidge World, and they've been in our world. And good night.